That day, the rain was merciless, pouring down in heavy sheets as a crowd of students scattered beneath their umbrellas. And then, there she was, sitting in the corner by the wall, her uniform soaked through, her dyed hair hanging low over her face as if to hide from the world. Everyone knew her name, Willow, the girl parents warned their kids about, the so-called bad girl. Skipped classes, ignored homework, whispered to run with thugs outside school. Every rumor had a shadow on it. But in that moment, none of it mattered. I held my umbrella out, tilting it just enough to cover her. She lifted her head, slowly, like she didn't even believe I was talking to her. And when our eyes met, I saw a face so breathtaking it almost didn't feel real. Her lashes wet with rain, her lips parted in confusion, her beauty breaking through the storm around us. That was the moment, the one that changed everything. Because when I offered her shelter, she didn't just take the umbrella. She started clinging to me. And little by little, I realized maybe those rumors weren't the whole story. She dropped onto the sofa like she owned the place, scrolling through her phone without a care in the world. I let her be and buried myself in assignments, grateful for something to focus on. Truth was, the silence between us was awkward. If it wasn't for homework, I wouldn't even know what to say. Minutes passed, maybe more. I was just starting to lose myself in equations when I felt it, a faint tickle at my neck. I turned, and there she was, Willow, so close I nearly crashed right into her face. "What are you doing?" My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. She only smiled, hands tucked behind her back, eyes bright with mischief. "You're really that focused, huh?" I blinked at her. "Weren't you just on your phone? When did you even?" She pointed casually at the floor. "Just now." Then her tone shifted, a little hesitant. "Actually, I wanted to ask you something." My brows rose. "What is it?" She bit her lip before whispering. "My parents, they're not coming back tomorrow either. Can I stay here one more day?" Her words hung heavy in the air. I frowned without meaning to, and immediately saw her expression falter. But then she stepped forward, eyes pleading. "Please." The word came out so fragile it cracked something inside me. I sighed. "Yeah, okay." She lit up instantly, practically bouncing as she patted my shoulder. "George, you're awesome. From now on, as payment, I'll protect you." The next morning, we walked into school side by side. Same building, same year, but now every glance followed us. Whispers, smirks, eyes darting between her and me. She moved through it like she was used to it. I wasn't. "Wait for me after school." "Okay," she called out, dimples flashing as she leaned against my doorway. I nodded, but the stares from my classmates already felt heavier. By the time I sat down, the murmurs had found me. My desk mate leaned in, voice low and sharp. "How do you even know Willow?" "You know her?" I whispered back. His face darkened. "Everyone knows her. She's dating some thug outside school. And you didn't hear? She had an abortion." The word hit me like a punch. Abortion. I shook my head. "No, I don't believe that." But he pressed on. "Don't be fooled, George. She's filthy under all that makeup. She'll get with any guy." I forced myself to stare down at my book, but the words blurred. His voice kept echoing. "Filthy. Any guy." Rumors twisted with memory. The underwear scattered on my sofa, her smile in my shirt, and jealousy, confusion, something sour I couldn't name, burned inside me. The whole day, I drifted through classes like a ghost. By the time the final bell rang, I almost forgot she'd be waiting. But there she was, leaning casually against my classroom door. Her hair curled soft at the edges, dimples bright, chewing gum like the world was haze. Boys gawked, girls whispered. And suddenly, the weight of all their stares was on me too. "Let's go," she said, nudging me with that easy grin. We barely made it past the gates before the mood shifted. A group of bleached-haired thugs blocked the path, their leader's tattoo gleaming under the streetlight. He cracked his knuckles, eyes locked on Willow. Well, thought you could run forever." Willow stepped in front of me, her voice steady. "This is school. You wouldn't dare." But two more guys closed in from behind, boxing us in. My heart raced as I measured the distance to the guard post. Too far. Too late. The tattooed one leaned in, sneering. Tonight, you're coming with us. No excuses. His hand clamped down on my shoulder like a vice. And just like that, we were dragged to a place where the school's light didn't reach, a patch of empty grass, quiet and suffocating. Their leader spoke with the arrogance of someone who thought he owned the night. Girl, even in this business, there are rules. I, Martin, always keep my word. And tonight, he smirked, you'll keep yours. The chorus of voices behind him was mocking, hungry. That's right. She owes it. No backing out now. My stomach twisted. Were they really trying to force her into this? What kind of deal had she made with them? But before the thought could fully form, I found myself stepping in front of her, shielding Willow without even thinking. Forcing someone against their will, there's only one word for that. Rape. The moment I stepped in front of her, every eye turned to me, sharp and dangerous, and for the first time in my life I felt something I'd never known before. Courage. Normally, I was just like everyone else. Keep your head down, stay far away from thugs. But tonight, I wasn't moving. Martin, their leader, strutted forward and grabbed my collar, his voice dripping with mockery. Well, where'd this punk come from? One of his lackeys sneered. Boss, you think is Willow's boy toy? He looks soft enough. Before Martin could laugh, Willow shoved him hard, her voice cracking. Let him go. His grip loosened just long enough for her to seize my hand. Run! And just like that, we were sprinting through the night. Her fingers clutched mine, rain-soaked and trembling, her voice breaking as she gasped, They can't catch us. But I could hear it, the sob hiding beneath her words. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't as heartless as she wanted the world to believe. The thugs gained on us. My chest boned, my legs pumped, but Willow was falling behind. They were closing in. I shoved her forward. Run ahead, call the police. Her eyes widened as I planted myself in the middle of the path. Go! I don't know where the courage came from. My fist clenched, and I charged. My punch cut through air, and the next second a fist slammed into my face, sending stars bursting across my vision. They swarmed me, fists raining down, and when I saw Willow about to rush back to me, panic ripped through my chest. If she stayed, we'd both go down. And then, a voice, sharp, cutting through the chaos. What do you think you're doing? Two men in security uniforms stormed toward us. The thugs scattered like shadows. My body sagged, bruised and aching, and Willow dropped to her knees beside me, genuine worry flashing across her face as she helped me sit up. The guards frowned at the sight of our uniforms. Why are you fighting with outsiders? Aren't you afraid of getting reported? One bent to check my injuries, but I waved him off quickly. The last thing I wanted was more trouble for her. I'm fine, I muttered. Do you need a hospital? No, he sighed, shaking his head, then turned to Willow. Take care of him, and if anything happens, call the school. She nodded quietly, supporting me as we limped away into the night. On the small road home, her voice broke the silence. Thank you. Soft, fragile, carrying a sadness that clung to the air. It's nothing, I said, even though everything inside me was trembling. Back home, as she cleaned the blood from my face, I finally pressed. The truth spilled out in fragments. She hadn't forgotten her keys. She'd been kicked out. Her parents had been gone for years, sending money from far away. She was left with an uncle, tolerated at first, until resentment curdled into cold stares and harsh words. Then came the fight that pushed her out for good. By the time I'd met her in the rain, she'd already been homeless for half a month. Hungry, desperate. That's when she tricked the thugs out of 800 yuan by promising to sleep with one of them. She'd taken the money and run. And now, they'd come to collect. She sat there, head bowed in shame. I didn't want to do it, but I had no money. I was starving. Her words pierced me. What I felt, I didn't even have a name for it. Heartache, maybe. How much is left? I asked. Her gray-white hair shifted as she looked up, confused. You want the money? Take it out. After a pause, she pulled a single worn bill from her pocket. 100. I was saving it to buy you medicine. Give it to me. She blinked, startled, her voice dropping. You're right. It was my fault you got hurt. Take it. If it's not enough, I'll pay you back. She placed the bill in my hand and stood, her figure heavy with disappointment. Thank you for taking care of me. I'll leave now. That lonely silhouette moved toward the door. My heart pounded with the weight of what I was about to say. This money is enough. From now on, you can stay here. She froze, slowly turned. What? You can stay with me, I repeated. Her expression shifted, uncertainty melting into hope. Really? Yes. But this 100 yuan, it isn't compensation. It's your rent, your lodging fee from now on. I smiled lightly, though my chest felt heavy, because I knew the truth. If she left, she had nowhere else to go. Back to the streets. Back to those thugs. And next time, maybe she wouldn't escape. That thought alone terrified me more than anything. It was something I couldn't accept. I didn't even know why. Maybe because deep down, the thought of her leaving unsettled me more than I wanted to admit. With 100 yuan, how long can I even stay? Willow's voice was small, uncertain. Until you no longer need to, I answered without hesitation. Her eyes widened. Really? And before I could react, she threw herself at me in pure excitement. She wasn't heavy, but the sudden impact made my bruises ache. I laughed softly, pushing her back a little. Yes, really, but there's one condition. You do what I say. Her brows arched. What kind of things? Just listen to me. First rule, you have to study. Study? She half lay across me, frowning in confusion, before realizing the awkward position and scrambling up with flushed cheeks. She sat a safe distance away, glaring. What's the point of studying? I met her gaze calmly. I don't care. If you want to stay here, you have to study. And not just study, you need to get a ranking. Her mouth fell open in shock. What? That's impossible. Not if I'm teaching you, I said patiently. But first, we deal with this. I gestured at her hair. That silver gray, rebellious symbol of everything people whispered about. You're dyeing it back. She blinked. Back! To black, I said firmly. Despite her protest, I dragged her to the salon. And the next morning, when we walked into school side by side, the effect was immediate. Heads turned. Whispers followed. But this time, the looks were different. Curious, even admiring. Willow's fresh black hair framed her face in a way I hadn't seen before. Delicate, soft, almost timeless. That edge of classic beauty that stopped people mid-step. Even some of the guys glanced at me with envy. She leaned closer, whispering nervously, This feels so weird. Do I look weak? Like someone easy to bully? I shook my head. No. Like this, you look beautiful. The words slipped out before I could stop them. She froze. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the flush rise in her cheeks. We kept walking, the silence between us carrying a strange warmth, until suddenly a sharp voice cut through the hallway from a classroom next door. Willow, did you steal the class fund? My steps stopped cold. It was Diego, the class monitor. I didn't. How could I possibly? Willow's voice was soft, defensive, almost desperate. Don't lie. I know about your family. Your aunt told us everything. You were kicked out, broke, with nowhere to go. If it wasn't you, then who? Diego's voice rose higher, crueler, as if the louder he got, the truer his words became. I didn't steal. Her voice cracked, and for the first time, I heard tears hidden inside it. That was enough. I didn't care about rules or morning study anymore. I stormed toward her classroom, my desk mate calling after me, but his voice faded behind me. When I reached the doorway, the sight made my blood boil. Willow was cornered, Diego's hand inches from searching her by force. What do you think you're doing? My voice cut through the room. Diego froze, frowning as his eyes snapped to me. You're from next door, right? What are you doing here? Yes, I'm from next door, I said firmly. but I'm also Willow's friend. My voice carried across the classroom, sharp and unwavering, and she would never steal money. A hush fell. All eyes were on us. Diego scoffed. Oh, yeah? And how can you prove that? Where's your evidence? Willow's fist clenched. Her voice trembled, but her spirit didn't break. If you think I'm a bad person, fine, but I will never admit to something I didn't do. I did not steal. But Diego had already decided she was guilty. His tone dripped with contempt. You're broke? Willow, tell me, what have you been eating these past weeks? How have you been spending? HM. That's none of your business, she fired back, but her words were running out, and his sneer grew wider. HM Page stole the class fund and still won't admit it? Fine, I'll call the police. Then do it, I snapped, stepping forward. The lectern rattled under my palm as I slammed it down. But if you call the police, you'd better be ready for the truth, because I can prove Willow didn't take a thing. These past few days, I was with her, the entire time. The class erupted in whispers, shock rippling through the room. Diego's face faltered for the first time. And if the surveillance footage clears her, I continued, staring him down, you won't just walk away from this. You'll apologize. To her, in front of the entire class. No, make that the entire school. At that moment, the classroom door swung open. A teacher stepped inside, catching the tail end of my words. What's going on here? She demanded. 10 minutes later, Lisa, the homeroom teacher, had pieced together the situation, and Diego, cornered but still defiant, raised his voice. Ms. Lisa, you have to see it from my side. The money in Diego's desk drawer couldn't have just vanished into thin air. Lisa leaned back, her voice steady, almost too calm. Diego, as class monitor, you should know better than to throw around accusations without evidence. Then she turned toward me, her tone shifting, firm, but fair. I agree with your suggestion. We'll investigate. And if it turns out Willow didn't take the money, you'll apologize to her in front of the entire school. The room went still. Diego hesitated, his jaw tight, before finally muttering, Fine. If it wasn't her, I'll apologize publicly. But if it was, his eyes locked on Willow, sharp and unforgiving. Willow didn't even blink. She met his glare head-on, her voice ringing out clear. If it was me, then I'll accept whatever punishment comes my way, even legal consequences. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. For a moment, no one moved. Then Lisa nodded. Good. Then it settled. Let's begin. What followed was methodical, every detail, every timeline, pieced together until they pinned down the exact window when the money had disappeared. Lisa pulled up the classroom surveillance footage, rewinding again and again. But no matter how many times we watched, no one ever touched Diego's desk. Diego, Lisa's voice sharpened. Are you even sure you put the money there in the first place? That was the breaking point. Everyone's eyes turned on him now, not Willow. Beads of sweat clung to his forehead. I'll have to think about it, he stammered, his confidence cracking. And then, like a twist of fate, the door opened. Alicia stepped in, a handful of coins clutched in her hand. Sorry I'm late. The sports committee needed the uniform order finalized. Hey, 350 yuan left over. She placed it in front of Diego, but Diego just froze. His hand hovered over the money, his expression twisted. Alicia frowned. What's wrong with you? A bitter laugh escaped him. My mistake. Didn't expect it to be with you. Willow turned away sharply, her cold snort echoing louder than words. Lisa's gaze hardened. Diego, I've told you all before, you never accuse without proof. And you, as class monitor, should know the damage that does. The weight of her words pressed down on him. Diego's defiance collapsed, and he lowered his head. I was wrong. But Lisa wasn't done. An apology here isn't enough. You'll write a formal one. And on Monday, during the school assembly, you'll read it on stage. The color drained from his face. That title, class monitor, the pride he wore like a badge, was now hanging by a thread. And Lisa twisted the knife further. Whether you're even fit to remain class president after this, I'll decide later. The class erupted in whispers. For Diego, it was a thunderbolt. For Willow, it was vindication. And for me, it was a strange relief. When it was all over, Lisa thanked me for stepping in, and I bowed deeply before leaving. My phone buzzed just as I stepped out into the corridor. "Thank you," Willow's message, followed by a small, almost shy emoji. I smiled without thinking, replying simply, "No problem. Don't mention it." At dismissal, she was waiting at the classroom door, just like always, her dark hair cascading down her shoulders, her delicate features catching every eye in the hallway. Whispers followed us. "That's Willow. She's actually that beautiful. What a pity a girl like that doing those things. I even heard she had an abortion." Ugly voices, full of venom. My chest tightened, but my words cut through them like glass. Before you have evidence, don't jump to conclusions. And with that, I walked straight to her side. "Shall we go?" I asked. Her eyes flickered, soft yet unreadable. She didn't answer, but she walked with me. And in that silence, there was something different, like we'd spoken without saying a word. But peace never lasted long. Just beyond the school gates, Willow froze. The same group of thugs from before. "Let's go this way." She grabbed my arm, panic flashing in her voice. But it was too late. They were already blocking the path. Martin, their leader, smirked. "Go on. Call security. But remember, security guards aren't police. And if you dare, I'll make sure the whole school knows what you really are." His finger jabbed toward Willow like a weapon. I stepped in front of her without thinking, pulling cash from my pocket. "Hey, 800 yuan. Take it and leave." For a moment, Martin's eyes flickered, but then he slapped the money to the ground. His laughter was cold, sharp. "You think I'm that cheap? I don't want your money. What I want is her." His gaze slid to Willow, predatory. He licked his lips, voice dripping with mockery. Black hair, delicate face. She looks like she'd make a good little obedient schoolgirl. The thugs behind him howled with laughter, a pack of jackals circling their prey. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just about money anymore. This was war. Willow's face twisted with disgust. "When did I ever say I'd sleep with you?" she snapped. "That money, I only borrowed it." Martin smirked, stepping closer, his tone dripping with mockery. "Borrowed? And who exactly do you think you are, Willow? What makes you think I'd lend you anything?" His eyes narrowed, cruel amusement flashing in them. "If it weren't for that face of yours, you wouldn't even be worth 800 yuan. The words cut deep, sharp enough to wound any girl. Behind me, I could feel Willow tense, her emotions boiling over. I squeezed her hand, firm, steady. A silent message, "Stay calm." This time, I wasn't just throwing myself into the fire. I had planned ahead. Pulling out my phone, I tilted the screen so he could see the numbers glowing. The police emergency dial. "Before we left school, I guess you might try something," I said, voice low but unwavering. "The local police are already on their way. So tell me, Martin, will they believe a gang of street punks or students? Take the money and walk, or go have tea at the station? Your choice." His grin faltered, hardening into a scowl. "Hey, don't think the police can protect you forever, kid. When I set my sights on a woman, none of them get away." Something inside me snapped. For a split second, I wanted him gone, him and every last one of his thugs. But this was reality, not some lawless world. I was just a student, and for now, all I could do was glare. "Let's go." He snatched the money off the ground and stormed off with his gang. Only then did I release the breath I'd been holding. Truth was, I hadn't been sure I could scare him off. But I knew one thing for certain. The moment you show fear, they win. I turned to Willow. "Let's go home." It wasn't until that moment I realized I had been holding her hand the whole time. She let me lead her, head bowed, quiet. Her voice, when it finally came, was soft, almost guilty. "I'm sorry. Because of me, you lost that money. I'll pay you back." I glanced at her, my tone gentle. No rush. Just promise me something. No more scams. Don't do bad things." She gave a strange little laugh, her eyes shadowed. I understand. I'll pay you back, honestly this time. At home, under my watch, she sat down with her books. The pages were nearly blank, yet the characters she wrote were neat, graceful, almost elegant. Your handwriting is beautiful, I told her. You should write more. Willow tilted her head, puzzled. It's not as good as you say. I smiled, glancing at her between problems of my own. Next year is our final year before the college entrance exam. You still have a chance. You have to get into a university. Her chin rested on her arms, eyes heavy. I want that too, but I just can't seem to study. Don't think like that, I said softly. Start small. Improve by 10 ranks in the next exam. One step at a time. She sighed, rolling her eyes as she took the papers from me. I know. Still, she worked through them, impatience melting into effort. Studying alone was dull, but studying with her, somehow, wasn't. The following Monday, under the rising flag, Diego stood before the entire school with an apology letter in his hands. His words were stiff, formal, but their meaning was clear. Sorry for what I did to Willow. Sorry for the damage I caused to her name. Sorry for the judgment that almost ruined her. When he finished, he bowed deeply, in front of thousands. I searched the crowd until my eyes found her. Willow, standing silently, a faint blush dusting her cheeks. Maybe I was imagining it, but it looked like she was on the verge of tears. And with someone like Willow, that meant more than any words. From then on, she rarely left my side. Cafeteria, class, even PE. She was there. It wasn't long before the teachers noticed. One day, I was called into the office. George, my homeroom teacher said gently, next year is crucial for you. You can't be dating. And that Willow, she's not a good student. Her words made my chest tighten. Why do you say that? I asked. She hesitated, caught off guard. She doesn't study. She dyes her hair. She's rebellious. That's not how a good student should be. I frowned. Teacher, as an educator, I don't think you should say that. To her, I was a perfect student, the model of what one should be. But that wasn't the label I wanted. And Willow, her hair, her defiance, that was just armor. None of it defined who she really was. I looked my teacher in the eye. Poor grades aren't forever. And one more thing, we're not dating. But Willow is a good kid. She deserves a chance to achieve more. Gathering my books, I stood. If you chose this profession, you should know education isn't about making the good students better. It's about making sure every student has a chance to grow. I walked out, leaving her stunned. From then on, I kept an even closer eye on Willow's studies. She didn't love it, but she tried, and that alone was rare, precious. One evening, in the study room, she rested her cheek on her palm, eyes fixed on me. Her voice was soft. Tell me, do you think I really learned it? Willow's voice was soft when she finally admitted it. Why she always looked so unsure. I just feel like I'm not as good as everyone else at studying. Can I really move up 10 spots? She lowered her head, her long black hair sliding over her shoulder like a dark waterfall. And in that moment, I understood exactly what she meant. For most of high school, she'd barely attended class. Everything she knew now came from the nights I forced her to sit with me, lesson after lesson. It wasn't like building knowledge from the ground up. No, her foundation didn't even exist. We were trying to build a skyscraper in midday. Of course she felt uneasy. I spoke gently. Don't overthink it. When the test paper comes, just write down everything you do know. Studying isn't like other things. If you put in the effort, results will come. She didn't fully grasp my words, but she still nodded. And compared to anyone else, she trusted me completely. With a monthly exam less than a week away, we studied late every night. She struggled, but I never stopped answering her questions. And though effort often goes unseen, it always leaves its mark. When the results came, Willow couldn't believe it. From the very bottom of the class, she had leapt into the top 20. Not 10 ranks, but 20. The whispers started immediately, rumors that she must have cheated. After school, she walked beside me, her silence heavy with hurt. I patted her head softly. You have to understand, no one likes watching someone they used to look down on get ahead. If you surpass them, they'll convince themselves it has to be fake. I wasn't just comforting her. I meant it, and I could see my words sinking deep. She let out a scoff, masking her feelings again. Whatever. Screw them. I don't care. But after a pause, her voice lowered. Still, I really can do it, right? She stopped walking, turning to face me with eyes that searched for something only I could give. Of course you can, I said. Your grades are the proof. Only we know how much work you put in. That was all it took. Willow broke into a grin and leapt straight into my arms, nearly knocking me over. A few classmates passed by, some sneering, others looking at me with envy. I groaned dramatically. Are you trying to kill me so you can inherit my leftovers? She laughed, but her eyes didn't leave mine. And then her tone shifted. Serious. Vulnerable. You said no one likes to see others do better than them. But what about you? Why do you want me to do well? My face grew hot under her gaze. I don't know. She leaned closer, her fragrance brushing against me. You don't know? I scrambled for an excuse. Maybe because you live at my place. Since you do, of course I should take responsibility for your studies. Oh, she teased, clasping her hand behind her back, a sly smile tugging at her lips. So, someone else has stayed at your place before. And no. I waved my hands. Just you. Only you. We reached the door to my home, and that's when she stopped again. She looked at me, eyes unwavering, and said it as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Let's date. My heart skipped. D-date. I'd never even held a girl's hand before, except for that one moment when I pulled her along while running. And now she was saying this, hey, in the open, as if it was nothing. She stepped closer, her voice calm but certain. Don't you understand? I do. Then she slipped her hand into mine. That cool. Soft touch sent a shiver racing through me. Then let's date. Panic struck. I pulled away. No, we can't. Not right now. Her face hardened. I didn't think you'd be so old-fashioned. Who says we can't date now? Dating is between us. It's not something others get to decide. She was bold, fearless, and I was burning up under the weight of every passing glance. How about we go upstairs first? I asked, desperate for escape. She snorted coldly. Whatever. Back inside, she didn't bring it up again. But the air between us was different, charged, fragile. When I looked at her now, my cheeks grew warm. When we studied, the faint scent of her hair kept pulling me off track. And in my mind, her confession replayed again and again. If I said yes, I could hold her hand without hiding, maybe even more. The thought alone made me tremble. I cut our session short, unable to focus. She didn't argue, just headed to the shower. I sat there in silence, listening to the water running, my thoughts spinning, my chest tightening. And when she finally came out, towel in hand, hair damp, I called her name softly, almost afraid of what might come next. Willow. She looked at me curiously, still drying her hair, and for a second I forgot how to breathe. About dating, I barely got the words out before Willow's lips curved into a smile. You finally figured it out. With the kind of confidence only she could pull off, she straightened her back and walked toward me. Being my boyfriend comes with a lot of perks, you know? Her voice carried a faint tremor, but her eyes, those striking, beautiful eyes, held nothing but expectation. I swallowed hard. That soft fragrance clinging to her made my mind go blank for a second. No, that's not what I meant. She froze, her smile faltering. Then what? That dating is bad? That good students should just keep studying? Her eyes darkened with a flicker of displeasure. I quickly shook my head. No, not that either. Let me finish. At that, she finally lifted her gaze and met mine head-on. What I wanted to say is, we can date. Her eyes lit up instantly. I knew you wouldn't turn me down. But she tilted her head, her voice softening. Don't you think we should wait until after the college entrance exam to really be together? Confusion crossed her face when I nodded. Why wait so long? Do you think I'm not good enough? I denied it immediately. No, you're amazing. You're beautiful. The compliment brought a faint blush to her cheeks. I hesitated before adding, I want to say yes now, but I once read, flowers that bloom too early wither too soon. With you, I don't ever want us to wither. My hand rested gently on her shoulder, and her body trembled beneath my touch. Her eyes glistened with emotion. I understand, she whispered. So you mean, no matter what, after the exam we'll be together? Yes, I promised. No matter what. Her next words came almost breathless. And you won't look down on me because of my grades. Grades don't matter. Us being together has nothing to do with that. I answered without hesitation, and for the first time, I realized maybe I really was falling for Willow. A smile finally broke through her worry. All right then, after the exam. She gave a playful warning. But I'll be watching you. Don't even think about flirting with other girls. I laughed, raising my hands in surrender. Of course not. What are you even imagining? Page, she snorted softly, her voice carrying a hint of possessiveness. If I find out, you're dead. No one can take you away from me. And just like that, before I could respond, she spun on her heels, bolted out of the room, and the door slammed shut behind her. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. One short message glowed on the screen. Good night. High school life went on, the same routines day after day. But even though we weren't officially together, everyone knew what we were. We walked home side by side. We turned down confession for each other's sake. And slowly, her reputation began to change. One good score could be dismissed as cheating. But consistent top 15 rankings every month? That couldn't be ignored. Even the teachers treated her differently. Willow had never been a bad student, something I had always known. And maybe because Diego had publicly apologized, those ugly rumors around her finally faded. In fact, during our final year, she became the girl every boy wanted. Love letters, flowers, secret admirers. Yet Willow would throw them all straight into the trash, right in front of everyone, before slipping her arm through mine. The boys muttered about it, said she only liked me because I was a bookworm. I didn't care. We studied together, ate together, lived in the same rhythm every day. And when the college entrance exam drew closer, Willow wasn't nervous. She was excited. The night before the exam, she leaned close, her breath warm against my ear. When this is over, you're mine. I coughed, flustered. Yeah. By then, I was already so used to her that her presence felt like home. This face, she teased, pinching my chin with a grin, will have my name written all over it soon. I stiffened. Shouldn't you be reviewing right now? She lounged back lazily, tossing something into her mouth. Big exam, big fun. Small exam, small fun. And for the entrance exam, we're going to have the biggest fun of all. Her dimples deepened with a mischievous smile. On exam day, the sky wept again. 2 days of relentless testing left me drained. But when the last bell rang, Willow ran straight into my arms, rain soaking her hair, her lips finding mine in front of everyone. From that moment on, there was no hesitation. You're mine now, she whispered fiercely, and I held her tighter, answering without a second thought. Yes, I'm yours. After graduation, we traveled together, leaving footprints in every place we went. A year's worth of restrained feelings spilled out all at once, sweet and reckless. Beneath snow-capped mountains, sharing one blanket, her kiss was warm, clumsy, but unforgettable. That night, we crossed a line we could never turn back from. At Southern University, whispers began. Rumors of a stunning campus goddess, untouchable, perfect. My roommate grinned and leaned in. She must be rich, right? Another laughed. Forget rich, I've actually seen her before. With looks like Hayes, Willow could have easily passed for celebrity. And when I overheard the guys in my dorm talking about her beauty, I couldn't help but feel a quiet pride inside, because the girl they were admiring was mine. Willow and I were officially a couple. Hey, George, Aren't you even curious? Don't you want to see what she looks like? One of my roommates teased. I just laughed, waving them off. No need. I've got dinner with her later. The room immediately erupted with boos. Yeah, right. Stop bragging. She just got here and already a dozen seniors were after her WeChat. You think you even stand a chance? Another one patted my head like I was a kid. George, it's okay not to have a girlfriend. Just don't make stuff up, man. Their laughter filled the room, but I didn't bother arguing. Just then, my phone rang. Ring, ring. I picked up, and Willow's soft voice spilled through the speaker. Baby, are you done? Did you make the bed? I smiled instantly. Of course. Why would you even worry about that? Good. Now hurry up. I'm starving. I'm right outside your dorm. When I hung up, my roommate stared. They'd only caught the faint sound of a sweet voice, and suspicion was written all over their faces. George, don't bluff. This kind of fake flexing is just bad culture, one of them scoffed. I stood up, grinning. Fine. Come with me. You'll see for yourselves. Half doubting but curious, they followed. After all, food was food. But the second we stepped outside, their jaws nearly hit the floor. Because there she was. Willow, standing at the dorm entrance like a scene out of a painting, her presence turning heads as guys passing by slowed to stare. The moment her eyes found me, she strode over and slipped her hand into mine. HMPH, you're so slow. I've been waiting over 10 minutes. Her voice was half a scold, half a tease. I chuckled. Blame them. They didn't believe you were really here. Said I was bragging. Willow burst into laughter. Seriously. Only then did my roommates finally believe their eyes. One by one, their faces flushed. No way. This goddess is actually your girlfriend. Damn, George, you lucky bastard. They trailed behind us as we walked, their words a mix of envy and congratulations. Well, even just having a meal with someone that beautiful would be enough for me. Careful, don't start coveting your roommate's girlfriend. Ha! Like she'd even look at me. Their laughter chased us all the way to the cafeteria. University life was nothing like high school. With Willow by my side, it felt like someone had flipped a switch. She shone everywhere she went, winning awards, standing out at competitions, even being voted one of the top 10 campus belles on the university forum. One evening, she curled up against me as we scrolled through the list together. So, which one of these girls do you think is the prettiest? She asked, eyes glinting mischievously. I didn't even hesitate. Mine is. Phut, lame answer. She pressed her palm against my chest, playful as always. Oh, didn't you sign up for that provincial science competition? She asked suddenly. Yeah, I nodded. Different majors, different paths, but she always remembered. Don't worry, I'll help you prepare. Moments like that made life feel peaceful, until that night. A group of figures appeared in the garden, walking straight toward us. Willow stiffened. That's a senior, she whispered. He's been pursuing me. I've turned him down, but... Before I could respond, his voice cut through the air, oily, insistent. Willow, why haven't you been answering my messages? I'm on a date with my boyfriend. Why should I? Willow's glare was sharp, but he ignored me entirely, pretending I didn't exist. Ah, Willow, you're really something. Look, I got you this. He pulled a small box from his pocket. A ring. Her eyes blazed. What you bought has nothing to do with me. I told you, stop harassing me. Harassing? Come on. You deserve better than him. His smile was smug, his meaning clear. I wasn't good enough. I stood slowly, stepping between them. His eyes locked onto mine, challenging. What? You gonna do something? Smack. My hand connected with his face before he could finish. Get out of my sight. My voice left no room for negotiation. For a moment, he just held his cheek, stunned. Then fury twisted his features, fists clenching. I didn't budge. Go ahead. Hit me, I said. Do it. This place has cameras everywhere. They'll catch you harassing her, or me putting you in your place. Your choice. He faltered, the weight of my words settling in. And for the first time, he realized this wasn't a game. Do yourself a favor. Get lost. People always like to call me a good student. But truth be told, I never saw myself that way. I wasn't weak. I never had been. The senior clenched his fists, his voice low and threatening. You've got guts. Just wait. But in the end, he didn't swing. He turned away, muttering as he left with his buddies. And the second he was gone, Willow came bouncing toward me, her arm flying around my shoulders. Her eyes sparkled like stars. You were amazing, she laughed. I gave her a sharp look. Amazing, my ass. Because deep down, no matter how much better she'd been acting lately, Willow was still Willow. Still that thrill-seeker who loved stirring up trouble. This'll probably just bring us more problems, I muttered. But after this, nobody should bother you again. She smiled softly, brushing my shoulder with her hand. You know, I really like the way you look at me. That possessiveness and that tenderness. Her words caught me off guard. Tenderness? She tilted her head, voice dropping low. Yeah, like the first time you held an umbrella for me. Everyone else walked past, but you noticed me. You gave me your umbrella. And in that quiet moment, I found myself thinking back to that rainy day, the start of everything between us. I cleared my throat, forcing a smile. All right, enough of that. It's late. I'll walk you back. So under the soft glow of the moonlight, we strolled side by side. It was one of those nights when nothing else seemed to matter, just the two of us walking slowly, like the world could finally breathe. College really did give you moments like that. Simple, peaceful, unforgettable. But I wasn't the same person anymore. I'd changed. The thugs I'd blocked at the school gate back then, they never came near Willow again. Not because they were scared of me. Not even because of the time I called the police. No, it was because I made sure they were gone. 3 years in prison meant they couldn't touch her again. And maybe tonight's little run-in with that senior would serve the same purpose. Kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. After leaving Willow at her dorm, I walked alone under the silver light of the moon. Sometimes, having a girlfriend too beautiful for her own good is its own kind of trouble. When she shines under the spotlight, people can't help but be drawn in. Soon, the buzz of the provincial competition took over the campus. But that senior, Makoto, wasn't done. He started spreading rumors about me and Willow on the school forum. Nothing major, but enough to disgust anyone reading. He even posted a challenge. If Willow's boyfriend can't beat me in the city-level competition, he's not worthy of her. And like always, the internet swarmed. I know that guy, average-looking, nothing special. No idea how he tricked Willow into dating him. Senior Makoto's the real deal. He's the one who truly loves Willow. Some were joking, some just stirring the pot. Soon, they even started a poll. My roommates were furious, typing replies as if they were fighting a war online. George, aren't you pissed? He's stomping on your face in public. But I was calm. Too calm. It only made them angrier. Sure, Willow loves you, one of them argued, but we can't just roll over like this. I nodded slowly. Relax. Just wait and watch. When I opened the forum again, I saw something they hadn't. A single comment from Willow's account, sitting right beneath Makoto's post. Even if you won a national-level competition, you still wouldn't be worth a single hair on my boyfriend's head. You're nothing but a clown. Don't use my name to post such garbage. And just like that, the comment section exploded. Damn, Willow's a queen. Some guy interfering in someone else's relationship? Zero class. No matter how good you are, if you meddle, you're still the third wheel. Most of the defenders were girls, and that was a strange thing. Willow was beautiful, sure, but other girls didn't hate her for it. Maybe because she never acted like she was above anyone else. When my roommates read her reply, their jaws hit the floor. See? I grinned, told you there was nothing to worry about. They laughed, clapping me on the back. George, you've got to teach us how to win over someone like her. Lunch is on us for a week. No, a semester. I chuckled. It's simple. Hold an umbrella for someone on a rainy day. They blinked. That's it. That's it, I said softly. Because back then, I was the one holding an umbrella for Willow, and now she was the one shielding me. She shone so brightly, but she never forgot me. Maybe that's what it means when love goes both ways. With her by my side, I threw myself into preparing for the competition. And when the day finally came, Makoto went first. His project wasn't bad, respectable, even, but when my turn arrived, the room shifted. My invention wasn't just decent. It was powerful, practical, and already catching the eyes of investors. In that moment, Makoto's challenge meant nothing. Right there on the spot, a company placed their faith in me. They decided to invest an entire production line built around my design. That victory should have been mine alone to savor, but I saw Makoto's jaw tighten, his pride cracking under the weight of his own failure. What started as a student competition had changed everything. I was no longer just another college kid. I became a research engineer, a patent holder, even the owner of my own factory. By junior year, Willow and I were already side by side, pouring ourselves into research and development. But when her placement took her to Beijing, our lives split into two cities. We lived on late-night video calls, whispered reassurances over the phone, holding on to a long-distance love that somehow never wavered. Until that winter, snow was falling when my factory alarms began to scream. Flames tore through the building, the very place where all our designs, our data, our future was stored. I ran straight into the fire, desperate to save what I could. But I was too late. Ashes clung to my face, smoke filled my lungs, and one of my employees spoke the truth no one wanted to hear. The loss, it's immeasurable. But I wasn't grieving. I was angry. This wasn't an accident. It was sabotage. And one name kept circling in my mind, Makoto. He hadn't beaten me in that competition, but he'd found investors, started a business in the same field, and built his success on copying mine. This fire, it was his way of delaying me, buying himself time to take the market first. I hid the thought, kept it to myself, sealed off the site, and called the shareholders. Then my phone buzzed. "Willow, why didn't you answer earlier?" Her voice was soft, almost scolding, but it carried the kind of warmth that could still my heart no matter how bad the storm was. My factory caught fire, I told her, probably arson. Her tone sharpened instantly. She didn't hesitate. She booked a red-eye flight back and, even while rushing through the airport, rattled off a barrage of legal questions. "You kept the scene intact, right? The police and fire department collected everything, right?" I drifted for a moment, just listening to her voice. It was fast, firm, unstoppable. "Hey, are you even listening to me?" she snapped, a hint of her thunder edge breaking through. I laughed softly. "Of course I am. My Willow studied law. How could I not?" That night, I met her at the airport. She was exhausted but radiant, her presence instantly grounding me. When we reached my modest apartment, she looked around and smiled, remembering old times. "Looks like I'll be staying again." I pulled her into my arms. "Not staying. This place is already your home." The fire hadn't broken us. It had only fueled something stronger. Our love burned brighter than the winter night around us. With her firm's intervention, the investigation sped forward. The fire was ruled arson, and Makoto's company was forced into the light. 2 weeks of digging unearthed the truth. He hadn't struck the match himself, but had ordered a loyal subordinate to do it. That man was sentenced to 15 years. But Willow wasn't satisfied. She pushed harder, filed an appeal, and dragged Makoto himself into court. I didn't interfere. I didn't need to, because watching Willow in court, standing tall, fearless, her voice cutting through lies like a blade, that was when she was most beautiful, more beautiful than I had ever seen her before. The rumors that once tried to crush her in high school, the whispers, the slander, none of it mattered now. She was no longer the girl who needed protection. She was the one protecting me. 3 months later, the second trial ended with Makoto's conviction. 3 years in prison for inciting a crime. Willow's name spread like wildfire, her reputation soared. One evening, she laughed and held out a handful of crisp bills. "I never imagined there'd be a day I'd actually earn money from you." I chuckled, shaking my head. "What I owe you is far more than that." But before I could say more, she wrapped her arms around me, kissed me softly, and whispered against my ear, "Don't think I don't see all the things you've quietly done for me." Her words cut deeper than any verdict. Her voice, steady, warm, grateful, left me frozen. And then, almost in a whisper, she added the only thing that mattered. "Thank you